Welcome back to IGN Live at San Diego Comic-Con. While the first season of The Terror focused on 19th century nautical horror in the Arctic, the next season is set in Japanese internment camp during World War II. Please welcome the executive producer of The Terror, Infamy, Alexander Wu. Welcome to the IGN balcony.
Thank you.
For those who don't know, break this down for us.
Yeah.
The first season was based on a book,
Yes.
which is based on historical events, but
Yes.
added its own supernatural tones in there. So, what real world events have inspired season 2?
So season 2 is completely different. So if you loved season 1, you'll get none of it in season 2. Completely different story, completely different writers, completely different cast, completely different subject matter. But it's still an anthology show. It is still an historical story told in a genre vocabulary. So we are telling the story of the internment. The Japanese American community in the 1940s through World War II, but using the vocabulary of Japanese ghost stories or kaidan and the Japanese horror movies like The Ring and The Grudge and Dark
Sure.
Water that are descended from it.
Sure. I feel like that story, that part of America's history in the internment camps is something that maybe a lot of people don't know a lot about. Do you feel like you actually have a chance to educate people here?
Well, I think there's a responsibility for sure, and there's a big range. There's going to be some people who know nothing about it. There's going to be a lot of people who have studied it, who are at families who were interned, and we have a responsibility to everyone. We wanted to make sure we got it right, and we have George Takei, of course, who was imprisoned in 2 internment camps, and we also had a huge cast and crew of that had relatives who had direct ascendants who were interned. So there are 138, if my math is right, 138 people who were interned who have direct descendants who worked on our show.
Wow. Okay. So you're saying nothing from the first season carries over. You can come in fresh.
Yeah.
But would you say there's anything in terms of like the vibe or like the style of the show that will feel familiar if you watch season 1?
I think hopefully we carry over a lot of the richness, a lot of the beautiful filmmaking, a lot of the really careful, meticulous craft of the first season, and a lot of the deep storytelling. We do a really deep dive into the history while still keeping it really scary and creepy.
So how difficult was it going from season 1, where you could really lean on your source material, to not having anything like that to lean on this time? You're creating
We didn't have a book as source material, but we had the lives of 145,000 people as source material. The biggest challenge was what we could put in 10 hours.
Yeah, sure. Were there like big things you wanted to get in there that you had to sort of cut along the way?
We needed to show the camp, so we needed to show what the camp looked like and what life was like in it. But also, it wasn't all pure misery. You know, that this was a story of the resilience and strength of the Japanese Americans who were imprisoned there. So you'll see that there was a whole range of emotions and that you might not expect if you just hear internment camp.
You mentioned George Takei is in the show and also served as sort of a consultant on the show. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
How did that sort of partnership come to be?
Well, it was logical, right? I mean, because George is maybe the most notable living person who's ever been interned, and he's a working actor in our business. So it would seem unthinkable not to ask him to be part of it.
Sure. I assume he was agreeable. He was excited about it, or?
Yeah, we went over to his house and I pitched the show to him, and he said he thought it sounded great. He's done a musical called Allegiance, which is about the internment, and he, in that production, used the vocabulary of musical theater to tell the story of the internment. So he understood using the vocabulary of horror to tell this story.
Interesting. So what can you tell us, if anything, about your monster or monsters in season 2?
Well, there's more than one monster, right? In the same way as in season 1, there is the very human monster of what people will do to each other, under certain circumstances. But there's also a supernatural entity at work that people are worried about, but no one's quite sure what it is just yet.
Sure. All right, so season 2 of The Terror Infamy, it premieres August 12th.
August 12th.
Coming right up. What did you say is sort of you're most excited for people to experience?
I think they hopefully, if we do our jobs right, you will jump right in and you will feel what it's like to be in the skin of these people. You will feel the hope and the joy, but also a lot of the terror and a lot of the dread of what that experience was for these people.
Awesome. Well, I'm very much looking forward to it. Thank you so much for coming by the IGN balcony. Have a great Comic-Con.
Thank you.
Once again, the Terror Infamy premieres August 12th on AMC. There's lots more Comic-Con still to come on IGN Live, but right now, we've got to take a quick, short break. Stick around.